When the first Christians were filled with the Holy Spirit on the day of Pentecost, the bystanders were amazed. Although they came from all over the ancient world, they each heard the disciples speaking in their own languages instead of in Hebrew or Aramaic. They couldn't understand how the fishermen from Galilee could know all these Mediterranean languages. But others heard merely a meaningless babble. It sounded to them like gibberish, as if the people were drunk and not able to speak clearly. They not only sounded drunk, but to some extent they even acted drunk too. One of the oldest references to spiritual prophecy is in the first book of Samuel, chapter 10, verses 9 to 13. The Spirit of God fell upon Saul, and he fell into a prophetic frenzy, along with a band of prophets who were passing at the time. Some translations describe it as a rapture instead of a frenzy, and some just describe it as prophesying. Jesus uses the same word when he speaks about one of the old prophets having spoken, like Isaiah prophesied. The leader of Jesus' followers speaks out to explain, and we'll look at Peter's explanation later. But it's important to realize that the onlookers had different opinions about what was happening to these early Christians. Were they merely intoxicated by alcohol? Or was this some spiritual rapture or frenzy brought on by the Spirit of God? Many of the ancient cultural religions of tribal people around the world involved prophetic leaders or shamans who would smoke leaves or eat unusual food that would send them into a different mental state. Then they saw visions and spoke gibberish. But the tribe's people valued their contributions as in some way connecting them with the spirit world, which they believed surrounded them. With our rational minds, we can reject the supernatural as being the result of an overactive imagination. But when we let down our guard and open ourselves to the Spirit, then we can be God's people.